Here's a profound misconception about letting go that's been bugging me lately. This idea that we must somehow erase or forget what once meant everything to us. It's like society expects us to hit some magical delete button on our emotions. Whether it's the end of a relationship that shaped years of your life, abandoning a dream you poured your heart into, or releasing a future you had meticulously planned with someone else. The common advice to just move on feels not only oversimplified, but honestly, it feels kinda cruel. Think about it. How do you just move on from something that's become woven into the fabric of who you are? Those experiences aren't just memories filed away in some mental cabinet. They're part of your story, your growth, your identity. When someone tells you to just get over it, they're essentially saying, hey, could you please pretend that massive, transformative part of your life never happened? Thanks. No wonder we struggle with this concept. The truth is, we're not meant to completely erase our past. That's not how human hearts or minds work. And honestly, would we even want to? Every relationship, every dream, every plan, they've shaped us in ways we're still discovering. The real challenge isn't forgetting, it's learning to remember differently. The truth about letting go is far more nuanced and complex than most people acknowledge. It's not about achieving some impossible state of amnesia where years of memories and feelings suddenly vanish. Instead, it's about transforming our relationship with these experiences, allowing them to exist within us without consuming us. I like to think of it like converting a raging fire into warm embers. The heat is still there, but it no longer threatens to burn everything in its path. It becomes something you can sit beside, something that can even provide comfort rather than destruction. The memories, the emotions, they don't disappear, but they change form. Letting go is really about making peace with what was and what is. It's acknowledging that something can be over without being erased. It's understanding that you can honor what was meaningful without remaining trapped in it. And this process is messy, it's non-linear, and it takes time. Sometimes a lot more time than those quote-unquote just move on people would have you believe. One thing nobody tells you about healing is that it rarely follows a straight line. It's more like a spiral. You circle around the same issues, but hopefully each time from a slightly different perspective, a little further from the center of the pain. Some days you wake up feeling stronger, like you finally turned a corner, only to hear a song on the radio or catch a familiar scent that blindsides you, throwing you right back into the depths. That's not a setback, that's just part of the process. Our emotions don't follow neat, predictable patterns. They surge and recede like tides, influenced by countless factors we can't always control. But gradually, almost imperceptibly, something shifts. The memories that once felt like fresh wounds begin to score over. They become chapters in your story rather than the ongoing narrative. You start to recognize that something can be both meaningful and finished, both precious and past. And that moment when you can hold these seemingly contradictory truths at once, that's when real healing begins. Not when you forget, but when you remember differently. When the memory no longer sends your heart racing and your mind spiraling. When you can acknowledge what was without being consumed by what could have been. You know what's interesting. We often consume emotional strength with emotional numbness. Like somehow, if we're strong enough, nothing should hurt us anymore. But that's not strength. That's denial. And denial has a way of catching up with us eventually. Real strength isn't found in pretending these experiences never mattered or trying to harden yourself against future pain. Instead, it emerges from your ability to honor the significance of what you lost while still remaining open to what life offers next. It's in reaching a place where you can appreciate the beauty of what was without needing to resurrect it. When you can acknowledge how that person, that dream, or that future shaped you without feeling compelled to rebuild your life around their absence. This kind of strength is vulnerable, it's honest, and it's incredibly powerful because it means you've learned to carry your past without being weighed down by it. Here's the thing about life. It moves forward relentlessly, whether you feel ready or not. The sun rises, seasons change, and somehow we find ourselves carried along with this unstoppable flow of time. I remember going through a particularly rough breakup years ago, and I couldn't imagine ever feeling normal again. It seemed impossible that a day would come when I wouldn't wake up thinking about that person. But then one morning, I realized I had gone a whole day without that familiar ache. And then a week, life had continued, and somehow I had continued with it. Eventually, you discover that you built something new from the ashes of what was lost. Not because you forced yourself to move on, but because that's what humans naturally do. We adapt, we grow, we rebuild. The past doesn't disappear. It becomes integrated into who you are, like rings in a tree trunk, making periods of growth. You learn to carry these experiences as burdens, but as parts of your story, elements that have contributed to your strength, wisdom, and capacity for love. And that's the beautiful paradox of letting go. What you release doesn't vanish. Instead, it transforms into something you can carry with you. Not as a weight, but as wisdom. The most profound healing happens when we stop fighting against our memories and start accepting them as part of our journey. When we understand that, letting go doesn't mean forgetting, but rather learning to remember without being overwhelmed. It's about reaching a place where you can look back with gentle acknowledgement rather than raw pain, where you can speak their name or revisit old dreams without feeling the ground disappear beneath your feet. This is the true meaning of moving forward, not leaving everything behind, but carrying it differently. In this way, letting go becomes less about loss and more about transformation. The love you felt, the dreams you cherished, the future you imagined, they don't disappear into nothingness. They become composed for new growth, fertilizing the ground where new possibilities will eventually take root.